Listen up, people. Of course, there's people out there that have been talking about Bud Crawford versus Shawn Porter, which is a good welterweight fight. In the end of the day, nobody's sitting at the negotiation table. Top rank Bob Arum ain't sitting with the Porters ain't sitting with top rank. Hey, it is what it is. I got the news, I got the breakdowns, I got the sources. Check it out. This is Paul Drunk Boxing, aka Mr. Moonshot himself. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all already know the saga continues in the welterweight division. Now, of course, Bud Crawford, the WBO welterweight champion, has been criticized about his opponents, his resume, his position, his status at the welterweight division, and where he should be placed above or under people in the welterweight division. They want him to fight. Of course, you want to see Spence versus Bud Crawford, but it seems like it's not going to happen. I said it enough from this channel. I said that fight is never going to happen. Now, of course, Bud Crawford is calling out the Manny Pacquiao. I believe the Spence ain't going to happen. The Manny Pacquiao fight ain't going to happen either. So there's a lot of people out there that want to shame Bud Crawford. You know, what do you mean you want Spence? How about you put more names in your resume in the welterweight division and fight Shawn Porter? Fight Shawn Porter. He's the mandatory. Now we all know Shawn Porter has humbled the welterweight division. Shawn Porter, the fight with him and Danny Garcia, the fight with him with Keith and Tom Thurman, the fight with him and Ugas, the fight with him with Spence. So when people would think that somebody is head and shoulders above anybody in the welterweight division, especially in the top, nah, Shawn Porter is the guy that actually humbles your thought. If you thought that Spence was way better than anybody else, or Keith and Tom Thurman at one time was way better than everybody else, or anybody was, Shawn Porter is that guy that humbles the welterweight division. So I can understand. I can understand that people want to see that Shawn Porter and Bud Crawford should get it on. I think that's a good fight. I think that all the fights in the welterweight division, especially the top dudes, the Spence versus Thurman and Porter too, Porter and Spence too, Spence and Bud and Thurman, but they all put Ugas in a place. And of course, you already know there's phenoms in the sport of boxing like Vergil Ortiz and Bruce Ennis that we feel like these guys' skills and talent could get it on with each and every one of them. Y'all already know Manny Pacquiao got the WBA, Super WBA, and we know that he's not going to be here for too long. And in my opinion, I believe that Manny Pacquiao, you know, either got to make a decision because it's almost going to be 2 years without him being active. And, you know, we don't know what he's going to do. We don't know who he's going to fight. We don't know if he's going to keep on fighting because, of course, he's in the Philippines. He got his responsibility as a senator in the Philippines, political responsibility. And in the future, he also want to go for the presidency seat. That has really nothing to do with the sport of boxing. So people are going to want to know what the WBA is going to do with Manny Pacquiao's situation. Either they want to want him to vacate or actually mandate him to fight somebody. But let me say this, y'all. When it comes to Shawn Porter versus Bud Crawford and the WBO, if you check right here, March 2020, you could see that Shawn Porter was not even in the rankings. No top 10. If you check it out, not top 15. Then we forward to July 2020. Shawn Porter appears in the rankings, number 4. But if you see, the guy that was in position for a mandatory was Danny Garcia. But y'all already know that Danny Garcia was going to fight Spence. So, of course, to take him out of the ranking, that's okay. But the guy, Vergil Ortiz, has been sitting in there. You see it. He's been sitting there in March. He's been sitting there in July. And he's been sitting there, you know, in August. But guess what happened in August? Shawn Porter, out of nowhere, really becomes the #1 mandatory to Bud Crawford. So, cool, we could push that fight and that fight will be good. But do we feel that Vergil Ortiz got a little, you know, step aside or you know, dismissed from a position in which I do believe that he should be the guy in position for that WBO. I think that he should be in that position. And if these guys just want to talk about, you know, Bud and Spence and things of that nature, I can't wait till the door opens up in the WBA or in the WBO. And I think that was a great opportunity for a young guy that's been in position to get that. But we don't hear any other channels out there talking about Vergil Ortiz, that he's actually being snubbed out of his position. Is it a Latino thing? I don't know. Should I put race into it? Because I know there's other channels out there that if it was the other way around and the guy that was not in the ranking all of a sudden showed up in a 3-4 month span as number one, that was not even in the rankings in the top, or was not even in the rankings at all. And Shawn Porter, shout out to Shawn Porter, like I said, the guy that has humbled the welterweight division. He didn't even know he was in that position. I remember he was in the telecast and said, I just learned that I am in this position. What's going on, WBO? Where's Vergil Ortiz? Why he's not mandatory? Why he's not mandated? Now, a lot of people's talking about when Bud and Shawn Porter could fight. Remember, it takes a year for the mandatory, so he just sat there in August 2020. We know probably Bud Crawford's going to be fighting before that. I don't think he's going to wait till the summer to fight again. So Bud Crawford is not going to fight Earl Spence. We want to know who the hell Bud Crawford is going to fight next. But you know what? I'm done with the business of shaming Bud Crawford. I'm going to say it like this. Bud Crawford is a 3-division world champion, 140, undisputed. And look, there is people going to be like, yo, but Bud Crawford haven't fought the guys that we want him to fight in the welterweight division. Now, it takes two to tango. We all know that. Now, business decision-wise, I could understand. PBC, they got a lot of fighters in which they don't have to mix and match. They don't have to do this cross-promotion, especially around this time when there is a pandemic. Why? Why cut in a Bob Arum for 30 or 40%, which they could wait for Bud Crawford to go October 2021. His contract will be expired. Go to PBC and get that in-house money. I could understand the business. That's why I don't see this fight happening. Maybe, Shawn, if we want, and there's a lot of people that emphasize mandatories. I'm a guy that I want to see unification bouts. I could understand the mandatory, right? But I could understand and respect the mandatory and things of that nature. But, you know, we want to see unification bouts. So we know that Earl Spence and Bud Crawford, we know we don't want to see Earl Spence fight Abdul Kokorov that been sitting as a mandatory for March 2019. But they ain't going to say nothing about Abdul Kokorov. Perry, he don't got the skin, the complexion to get that type of fight. I understand. Anyway, so Abdul Kokorov is a mandatory, and you're not pushing that on Spence, but you're pushing Shawn Porter on Bud because he's mandatory. But we know we don't want to see Abdul Kokorov in his mandatory. We want to see them unify. So no, you shouldn't shame Earl Spence. You shouldn't shame Bud Crawford. At the end of the day, Bud Crawford has a cemented legacy in which is a legacy, undisputed, that don't happen any often in 100+ year sports. So those people, look, I'm going to tell you like this. Ain't nobody no business managers around here. Stop quitting like you in the boardroom. At the end of the day, the fight don't happen, it don't happen. There's a lot of fights in the sport of boxing, in the history of the sport of boxing, that the fans want to see, and it just didn't happen. And this might be just another one of that situation. Bud, Spence, might not happen. Bud Spence might fight and make money with the likes of Keith Thurman in the PBC banner, or get the Manny Pacquiao fight, and Bud will fight anybody he want. I don't know. At the end of the day, why shame him? It's business. Sometimes people want to talk about, this guy making this money. This guy is the A side, and then the next day they want to talk about legacy and legacy. Yo, pick your poison. Either you a person that cares about these boxers and the money that they make, like they putting something in your pocket, or you a boxing fans that just want to see fighters challenge themselves for legacy and things of that nature. Yeah, we can understand what goes in what we think goes in the boardroom, because none of us know how much these boxers are getting paid. None of us know. We know what that's reported. That's bogus. And the boxers that look at these type of channels will laugh at us if we keep on saying, but this guy make 1.25 million and this. We don't know shit, so stop acting like you know shit. At the end of the day, the fight don't happen. But we see people are in position to get these fights. Vergil Ortiz should get a crack of Bud Crawford. Or Shawn Porter could do a fight with Vergil Ortiz. Come on, guys. There's a lot of fights out there. I don't gotta be dwelling on no Bud versus Earl Spence. Whatever, the fight don't happen. Boxing isn't a great momentum right now for me to worry about a fight that they don't want to give us. We're the consumer, right? If they don't want to give us, they don't want to sell it to us, then stop bitching. Stop bitching about a fight that they don't want to sell to us. Earl Spence, it's saying 60-40, 70-30. Bud is saying no. Bud is saying no to Spence. Spence is saying no to Bud. Fuck the fight. It's not fuck them, but fuck that fight. Excuse my language. I already know it's a Christian show. Anyway, so let me know what y'all feel about it. And by the way, Shawn Porter's people have already said, sources say, I ain't even gonna say sources, the Porters have stated that they haven't sit with Top Ranks. So that fight is not marinating anywhere in the boardroom. There is no contract that's being passed. There is not a mandatory, an automatic mandatory for that fight to happen, because of course it got to happen in a year. So the WBO is not giving you any type of immediate mandatory. So we need to chill about immediate fights. At the end of the day, this is Punch Drunk Boxing, aka Mr. Moonshine himself. We break things down unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. Up here, y'all already know God first, everything second. 5 + 5 = 2 champions. And for the haters out there, you already know. Keep on talking about your boy, cause I got your name and I got my name in your mouth. Keep on talking, baby. Y'all already know. This is just the beginning. Punch Drunk Boxing. Good looking out for the subscribers. Y'all already know I love y'all. 20K. We made it. We actually working hard out here. We doing to uplift the sport of boxing. We ain't no narrative pushers like y'all motherfuckers out there spending time with narrative pushing. It's getting weak. I make expose it, and that's it. It's the time for we break things down unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. Everybody, peace out, God bless, and on to the next. Sorry, God, for the cursing.